immediately.
You did.
On Sunday.
I thought something was wrong with you when you were texting on Sunday.
No, it was just, the game, because it fit, right? Like the audience is going to go crazy. And this is going to be, I guess, kind of Sunday centered because I had an issue physically that I think some of the people can relate to, but we'll get to that, Doc.
All right.
Johni Broome, who was dominant, flat out dominant against the Michigan State Spartans, and you were watching the game, hurts his shoulder, can't lift his shoulder, comes back like Willis Reed for the Knicks all of a sudden, still is got some shoulder issues, but weirdly enough, he catches the ball on the wing and he can rise up to shoot the three, and then it's fine, and buries the three that kind of cooked the Spartans. I texted you right away. The people are going to ask, Doc, did he get the secret sauce? And you weren't there. Understand. Qualify this. You weren't there. You're not the Doc. But with that being said, Doc, did they maybe secret sauce him a little bit?
Totally. I mean,
yes. We did it, everybody. We did it.
We have inside information. No, I mean, first of all, he's a lefty. It was his right arm, and the guy's just. I mean, you talk about adrenaline. You can't underestimate adrenaline of the game. I mean, was he sore after? He actually went back in the room and had X-rays to make sure there was no fracture. Once he didn't have the fracture, there's a mental component like, oh my gosh, is something really wrong? And then psychologically, he's like, well, if it's not broken, then I can go back and push on it. Did they tell him it's torn ligaments or anything like that? No, I mean, he had he had a very awkward fall, but was there some creams or lotions potentially put him on that can take down the pain within minutes and last for 20 to 30 minutes to get the rest of that game? Yeah, I mean, this guy did not want to miss the game. I mean, could Michigan State is known for comebacks in the second half? Yeah, I mean, him coming in, I think, was instrumental, unfortunately, to the Michigan State loss. Him coming in like that, the morale's up, the crowd went crazy, the whole thing. But as far as talking about him and his injuries, I'm worried about him playing this week. Will he be 100% this week? Will he be as strong on that side? Not that we care about Auburn anymore, but hopefully the viewers have some interest in this. But I think overall, they had an X-ray. The X-ray is negative. That's a mental play for him. Okay, nothing's broken. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to go play left-handed, and I'm going to use my wing of my right arm to get through the rest of the game.
Doc, here's the thing, and having worked in college sports and also having worked in the NBA and being there behind the scenes and everything, for what I've noticed, because you brought up the mental component with Johni Broome, I have noticed that the mental component is far greater with college athletes than it is with professional athletes. Have you noticed that? And I don't know the extent. I know you've been around professional athletes and things like that, but do you notice that too? If so,
we've been
maybe
around
why?
a lot of college, all divisions of college.
That's just true. Yeah.
I started my world at U of M Dearborn.
Okay.
That U of M, label had to get on me real quick, but we did that for all sports. But yeah, I mean, there's two edges to that, right? There's the unknown of like, oh, did something really happen? Like I just had that with one of our lacrosse players on Saturday. They felt a pop. He automatically thought it was an ACL tear, and he just panicked, right? So he's a younger player that's not knowledgeable. Then you have the older players that are knowledgeable, almost too knowledgeable, and they have that brain scarring, like, oh, I felt this before, I heard about this before. So there's really all of it across the board. As far as the college players, they lack information, and when you give them information, there's a trust. They still have a trust in their medical team. As you become a professional, they have a more significant trust, but they also have that brain scarring where it's like, oh, I felt this before. This is what's happened. They have a little bit more education on their side.
They're more weathered.
More weathered is another way of putting it.
It's like a Scotch drinker versus a bourbon drinker, but I digress. Dr. Pierce joining us here.
Not sure where we're going with that
one. No, that's kind of where I'm at. You have any thoughts on this, Stick?
Yeah, it's just crazy to me how things have evolved to where it is, where medically you never know what the heck's going on back in that locker room. They can pull anybody back there, and next thing you know, they're walking out miraculously. You saw it in like the movie Friday Night Lights with Boobie Miles, right? They're sticking that needle that's about this long right into his knee so he can come back out and play. How often do you think that happens in real life.
The booby miles.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be smelling salts and a steroid injection, and you're back out there.
Yeah.
That was
Like
very
a Novocaine
common.
shot, right? Just so you couldn't feel it.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing. It's like, even some of our big professionals, am I going to feel anything? No, you'll be fine. Now you got to tell them exactly. That knee's going to be numb. You're running on a numb knee, and then there's risk of further injury. But yeah, we don't do that anymore. I mean, they're informed.
Well, I'm not saying you personally ever.
No.
I'm talking about those types of doctors.
How does it work now? Like
Those types.
No, but for real. Like, give us for instance, your best guess. And again, you're speculating. I want to put that out.
Well,
you're speculating.
I've lived too. I've lived a lot of it. I mean, I love seeing my old players. Doc, these guys are a bunch of peas. And back in my day. Back in my day, it was smelling salts when we got back out there. We didn't go into a tent and had to do, count back by 100, by fives and tens and stuff like that. It's like if you were breathing, you were out on the field.
Right.
But we've evolved. I mean, is that the right way? No, that's not the right way. But have we gotten a little bit too soft? Maybe in basketball. But
That's what the chat is agreeing with you, by the way, just so you know.
Well, I'm glad I can go. I try to please the masses.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, it's become a business. It's a business. It's a corporate business, and these guys are. You're looking at college players now that are worried. We talk about sitting on bowl games. I mean, the business is taking over. The money is taking over. It's like you always want to figure it out. You follow the dollar, and you follow the dollar here. Everybody's gonna be a little bit cautious. I mean, this guy, I think 5 minutes before he walked out, I was on. I was watching the game. I said, that's the next $100 million guy you're watching right now. This guy's up for a lot of money. And, his parent panning to his parents and doing all that. But, I mean, the guy came out and played. He had all the reason to sit down those last 8.5 minutes of the game. But I applaud him for staying in the game, playing his heart, playing with a lot of integrity and toughness. So I forgot what your question was.
Talking Dr. Pierce here, as we do every Tuesday on Big D Energy, every Thursday with Ermanni and Edwards as well. But we're talking about the Johni Broome thing because people got excited about specials. Anytime special sauce gets brought up.
I love it.
Yeah,
I do need to get the T-shirts for all of us. Maybe once the summer breaks, we'll do a
T-shirt thing. In the super chat, by the way, Rando Smalls, North Dallas 40, Nick Nolte took the shot. Yeah. So there's that one out there as well. Doc, can I make it personal here? I mean, can I kind of command your time here?
We got your insurance card. We'll click it later.
I have it right here. Blue Cross Blue Shield.
We're
We're rock.
All for information.
Yeah.
You got insurance?
All right, Doc. I hit golf balls for the first time Sunday. After I got done watching, Johni Broome take the secret sauce, I figured, hey, I'll get out there and do it. I run a lot, as you know.
Right.
I have implemented stretching as a regular part.
You still feel it's a good implement?
Yeah, 100%. I do. I've done it, and I've noticed a big-time difference. As I've kind of gone through my 40s here, Doc, I'm noticing that the curveball's kind of falling off the table quickly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, stuff that hasn't bothered me in the past is bothering me now. So I go hit golf balls, and I don't just, I'm going to go.
How big of a bucket?
Well, I have a net in my basement. I probably took about a good 150 swings.
In what period of time?
Probably over an hour.
All right, so you spaced it out, but think about that.
Yeah, I went from 0 since Christmas.
You stretched though before, right?
Nope.
I did not.
You took the clubs and swung and did the little band work, and you did all that, right?
No, what I do is I hit little chip shots and then little pitch shots, and we kind of
work your way up.
We work our way up
swing.
from there. I do that.
All right, so that's not terrible. If you were in your 30s, you're now older.
But Doc, yeah, like why?
Damn. Stretch, Neil.
I know, but I know it's that simple.
You can't avoid it.
I can't get myself in that mindset. I think because I do it during my weekly regimen. Every other day is a stretch, and I'm talking like, I don't cheat you, Doc. Like when I do the stretches, like I'm in it. I don't want to say it's uncomfortable.
But it worked. It worked for you. That's why you committed. You didn't commit because it was like, oh, he's talking, BS. You felt the difference, right? So that's what I encourage the chat, the viewers, whoever's listening. Buy into it. Believe it. Some of these, if we ever get to it, we start making fun of those TikToks of, do this stretch. I saw some crazy workout I shared for hip stretching. It was like outrageous. But the point is that one, I got to give you information. Two, you have to accept the information. And three, you want to believe in what I'm telling you. So until you have that, and I don't want it to be an injury. So to answer your question, yes, you do need to warm up. You do need to pace off. You do need to realize that your body's going to react, but it's also going to react after you're done, right? So if you're feeling something while you're doing it, then that's an automatic red flag that take a step back, take a deep breath, work on your form, do the stretches more, touch your toes again. And as you rotate, as you warm up, like you were saying, you start with the little chip shots. Your body isn't rotating like you're hitting a 3-iron.
Correct.
Right? So you're dealing with the small little muscles that you may be utilizing in everyday life. But when you start getting into that, let's call it the 5-iron, where you're doing a little bit more of a backswing and a little bit more effort and throwing your hips through a little bit, where it's not just in your hands, you got to believe there's more muscle, there's more interaction going on, there's more physiology of your body reacting, right? So it's just like if you're like paddleboarding, right? So if you're paddleboarding, you're just kind of cruising, you're just kind of going like this. If you want to kick it up, like if the weather changes, you're now moving, I don't know the numbers, you're going from like 5 to 10 different muscles to 20 different muscles that are engaging while you're doing that. Same thing with any rotational sport. It's the same thing with any sport. That's why you do the soft warm-ups in what we call a parallel motion, and then you get rotational motion. So that's getting too detailed, huh?
No, well, in the chat, that guy up north says, Neil's a patient that goes to the doctor for a problem, then wants to debate the doc on why what he is doing is just fine and right, LMAO. And no, doc, look, when I have that conversation with you and I bring that up, I know the answer.
Right.
I knew the answer Sunday night when I was like, man, this. Wait, no, I'm in shape. I'm in shape.
No, there's ligaments. They're small. They're small. I hate to tell you, but running is not the best form of exercise.
It's high impact.
You're talking about impact. You're talking about short striding. You're talking about, like, if you go to yoga and then you go back to running, you need to do not CrossFit. I'm not for CrossFit. I'm for cross training, right? So it's rotational. It's like I said, people are like, well, I walked 14,000 steps today. I don't really give a BS of that.
Whoa,
I don't.
family show.
Yeah.
Fox 2.
Hey, it is Tuesday afternoon.
That's right.
The thing is that I really love how Apple's encourage this activity, but it's misleading because when you do a short step, like if you're running, you're conditioning certain muscles to be at a certain time. When you start cross-training, you go to golf or you go play softball or you go play basketball, it translates from a cardio standpoint, but not from a physical strength standpoint, right? So all the runners are going to start yelling at me that I'm the most fit type of person there is, which is true, but for what? For all endurance, for all encompassing? No, running is not the only thing you should be doing.
The Dull Spoon asked a question for you, Doc. See, we got the people's gears turning. Question, Doc. Can you overstretch?
Can you overstretch? Yes. The simple answer is yes. Does it happen often? No. If you create hypermobility, meaning too much movement, like I pick on chiropractors, that they keep manipulating the easy segment and avoid like when you crack your neck, right? Everybody's like, is it bad to crack my neck? Yes, it's bad to crack your neck unless you're cracking the right segment. But what typically happens when you crack your neck, you're cracking the segment above and below the problem. So it'll give you that short-term relief, but it won't give you what you really need. So you have to identify that area. So what you will do is you'll create a hypermobility, too much mobility above and below the actual problem, where the actual problem is hypomobility, too little of movement. So you have to understand what you're trying to accomplish and what you're trying to do. But overall, overstretching and what I'm telling you to do is a rarity.
I think this is a good one to kind of wrap things up. Nicholas Duncan says, Neil spends too much time hating U of M and not enough time stretching. So I think we broke some ground
Fair.
here, Doc. No, Doc, as always, man, we appreciate you stopping by. And thank you for letting me kind of, manipulate the conversation, make it about me. So thank you.
No. Always. As long as it helps the viewers and the audience, and that's kind of what we want to do. But, understand you are going to summer. The sun's out, but it's still cold. I mean, this doesn't help my practice, but it helps in the long run. I mean, like I said, I had a young player, my son's lacrosse team on Saturday that hurt his knee. It was bad contusion. If he didn't get to the right type of doctor, then this could have been lingering. So he had like a muscle bruise and a bone bruise. So what do you do for those kind of things? So the muscle bruise is what you're worried about, where you have to actually stretch it and be aggressive, versus the bone bruise that you want to rest because you got to heal that for that lack of compression on it. So there's simple things that happen that if they're not recovering or feeling good in day 2 or 3, you need to talk to someone, especially like us. If you feel a pop, if you feel that hamstring, be real to yourself, because like running, make sure you switch it up a little. Make sure you get some long strides in there. Your short striding is just going to strengthen those muscles. And then when you need to accelerate or you need to stretch out, that's when you pull on those tight muscles that are used to being shortened already.
No doubt, Doc, no doubt. And like, with all due respect to your regular doctor, like, they're not. They haven't been through the trenches like guys like you have before. Doc, appreciate the time.
If it's over the rule is 2 weeks. If you're still feeling it after 2 weeks and it's not 50%.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on Expert Sports Injury Insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.